Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of season 6 of the Five Door Media Podcast, where we are digging into one of the biggest growth levers and often the biggest mistakes in the cleaning industry: hiring and recruiting. If you're constantly posting job ads, chasing no shows, or losing your best people too fast, the season is made for you. Today's guest is someone who's not only building a standout cleaning company in the Triangle, but also running multiple businesses with a deep focus on systems, people, and scale. Meet Derek Hazelwood, serial entrepreneur, former fire department lieutenant, and operator and behind the Raleigh cleaning company, Ricochet Business Solutions, and Hazelwood Insurance Group. Derek has led teams in high pressure environments, and he brings that same clarity and execution to how he hires, trains, and scales service based businesses. He's passionate about helping business owners buy back their time and believes the right systems paired with the right people is how you get there. In this episode, we are unpacking what's working and what's not in hiring right now, from building a better applicant funnel to creating a culture that keeps top performers around. Derek, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm happy to
Absolutely.
be here, my friend. Really happy to be
Very
here.
cool. Yeah, thanks for being here and willing to kind of pull back the curtain on what you guys have been doing over at the Raleigh Cleaning Company, for your hiring and recruiting. Excited for the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's set the scene. Let's talk about the state of recruiting. You've been helping the Raleigh Cleaning Company and other ventures that you're a part of scale for quite a while. What would you say has been the toughest part of hiring in this current market?
Well, to start with, the current market was me adjusting from business to business, really understanding that the avatar for each person is so different. But in this environment, what we found for quite some time was, of course, coming out of post COVID, you had people that said there were no jobs, but yet there were plenty. And then we found people that, had not worked in a really long time.
Hmm.
And then come back to where, that's where we kind of started our journey of like no shows and stuff. And that was the biggest thing is like, I think people's mindset changed so dramatically in such a short period of time that many businesses didn't have the opportunity to catch up or even relearn the job environment post COVID. That's what really impacted us quite a bit.
So let's talk about that post-COVID world then. From your view, how has that labor market shifted in like the last few years?
Yeah, the labor market, it seemed to be getting better and then it like flatlined. And now it has really upticked to where we're getting a lot more applicants, a lot more good people involved. And not only that, but we're also looking for people who or we now are getting people who are employed and looking for better situations when beforehand we had been getting so many that had just been jobless. And there was many times to where people had really just said, "Hey, I'd rather sit at home right now than work." And during that COVID time in the cleaning industry, they became to where we were considered, we needed to work. Uh,
Essential. Yeah,
essential.
essential and yeah.
Right. But with so much money looming to not work, it was harder in that environment. And it kind of seems that people got used to X amount of money for doing nothing. And then when they had to come back to work, and then in some cases, people making less once they were working, it was really tough. However, now it really seems that that is kind of started to fade quite a bit, and there's a really uptick of movement. So we are seeing a lot better activity now than we had before.
Very interesting. Let's talk about attracting the right candidates,
Yeah.
because I think it's easy just to attract candidates in this world. You could put a job out anywhere and get tons of people to respond,
Right.
but attracting the right candidates, which it seems like you're having a lot of success with. You've built hiring systems inside the cleaning company. What have you found that actually works in terms of like job ads and funnels to get those right candidates?
Psychometric job ads. If you don't know what those are, you need to figure it out. Learning to speak to the applicant and what they want to hear. Car companies make cars from every different sector. Say, for example, Chevrolet. Well, they make economy cars like the Sonic they used to. and all the way up to a Corvette. But then they also have large SUVs and trucks. And so there's something different for every person. Well, when we're putting a job ad out and we're not speaking to the person that we want to attract specifically and is so generic, the person isn't seeing that. So you have to think like the actual not only applicant, but just like you do when you're advertising for the for services. Think like them. What's important to them? How am I going to reach them? What touches them? In our market, of course, we have a lot of ladies and or single mothers. And so like what's important to them? Think about that. And then, we've been a little bit fortunate because I've been in sales for so many years and done so many presentations, is thinking like the client. It's just like Brian Tracy's book. I say it all the time, Psychology of Selling. Thinking about that, about the person. And then when you start doing that and you're speaking their language, you have the right people applying. In our job ads, many of them don't even talk about the money. It talks about what the job's going to mean to them and how it's going to affect them. Something really simple, case in point. In a couple of our ads, it talks about um, their time. And as far as never miss a baseball practice or a ballet recital again, because many people that come to us have been in service-based industries such as like restaurants and things like that. So they're
Sure.
used to nights and weekends and all that stuff.
Retail,
Yeah,
things like that. Yeah.
and they're missing a lot of events family. So we speak to that about not missing that and then go a little bit another step forward and say, okay, here's another thing we're going to do. We're going to say, and on the weekends, having time to go to amusement parks with your family. Well, it's not about the time when you start talking about things that are extra. Then it becomes to the psychologically are going, hey, that's implying I'm gonna have extra money. And
Mhm.
and then they're thinking, "Okay, now I have a great schedule and I'm thinking I'm having extra money." So, it's more about trying to think like that, applicant than just throwing everything you're out. They say many times I had a great business guy tell me, he said he was talking about a website at one time, and he was talking about, his business has so many referrals and or leads coming in. He said, I really don't even mess with my website. It's antiquated. Could he get more leads? Yeah, but they couldn't serve what they had. And he said, the way I look at it sometimes is the things that we do as business owners, we do it as pride. And I said, what do you mean? He said, "So I know that your company has a sign on the baseball field here locally. Why do you do that?" "Well, to help out, and so forth." He said, "Do you do it for advertising?" I said, "Well, I hope somebody sees it." He said, "No, your kid plays baseball and you feel good about yourself when you go there because you helped." So therefore, don't treat your job ads like that. Don't treat any of the things like that it's directing to who you are because you're like, we have 50 cleaning techs and 15 cars and we're doing this and we're doing this and you're bragging on yourself. And that's more about pride of who I am and who the company is versus what they want to hear and see and speaks to them.
I mean, you compared it to marketing funnels for the business, right? And like sales language in general, like it's always better to talk about solutions rather than just services. So stop talking about, what you're saying is stop just listing off like bullet point job descriptions
Yeah.
and start talking about what their life is going to be like when they're a part of this team.
Correct. Instant engagement. I mean, instant engagement. And that's where, with the automation things and the funnels that we've built out, is they don't have time to apply anywhere else before we're already contacting them. So they realize that, and instantly we are contacting them about those feelings, about that, about who they are versus just, hey, we pay, 20 to $30 an allowed hour and so forth. That's not it. Most time that's not speaking the language that they really want. And when you use even deeper tools than the psychometric job ads and start using predictive analytics to who the person is, then you can speak directly to them because you know their desires and motivators.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Where do you think most business owners are losing good applicants, and maybe they're not even realizing it. But like, where are people missing the mark?
The process. Um, you know, I hear often, well, they told me they would get back with me in a week or less than a week, and they hadn't got back to me. Um, what they said and not following up on your word and not doing things fast enough. I said it to you before, and I'll say it 100,000 times before I die. Time kills all deals. And if you're not there instantly with the great people, other people want them too. So I think that's the biggest thing is like not number one, doing it fast enough. And then number two, not connecting on a personal basis to where they feel seen and heard. And those things are really important. In fact, I just got off a job interview here about an hour ago. And a lot of my interview, like we never talk about the job ever
Mm,
because all my automation has singled out who I want to hire. I mean, if you get to me for an interview, you're probably going to be hired because through the automation, it's knocked everybody out that doesn't need to be there to a large degree. And what we found is like some of my questions in our interviews is, hey, what's your favorite board game? Because if somebody tells me, "Man, I love Monopoly because I like to do such and such." Well, what does that tell you? Well, they're detail oriented because they're having to pay attention to the game. What's your favorite movie? And then if they talk about things that are suspense and you're having to figure out what's going on, you're really realizing who they are. So, we don't do the what's your greatest weakness? What's your greatest, strength and stuff like that. We speak completely to other things. And we're talking about cleaning. One of our questions also is, hey, when's the last time you did something for somebody when you weren't asked to do it?
mm,
And they kind of sit there for a minute and they answer, but you see, are they servant hearted? And so I think what happens is, as far as missing the mark, is look, I'm from the insurance industry where essentially if they tell you that everybody's not a number, they're not telling the truth. But it essentially is when you're really caring about them and not applicant number 527.
mm.
And because of the automations we've put in place and things like that, we can do that because we can spend quality time with the people that get through. That's, I think, the biggest thing that people are missing is the really true interpersonal relationship, and they can feel it.
Yeah. The human element obviously plays a giant role into it, but you talk a lot about speed and responsiveness as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have had conversations probably hours at this point, right? Like we talk about this a lot on the marketing side of things. But when it comes to hiring, why is it such a game changer in that arena too? Speed and responsiveness. What difference is that making in the hiring arena?
Well, there's a bunch of different directions I could go on that, Drew. But the first one I'll go back to is, man, I must be special. They're getting back to me that fast.
Mm.
It's a feeling. But
The human element
the
again. Yeah.
human element again, we're speaking right back to human element once again. And then beyond that, it's you're beating your competition. They don't have time to apply somewhere else.
Mm.
So there's many facets. Think about going to a restaurant and someone walking over to your table, time you sit down and saying, "Hey, I got a table. I'm gonna bring some bread back. Can I go ahead and know what you want to drink?" Versus the 10 minutes. Well, the same outcome is you're gonna get food and you're gonna leave there full, but when you sit down, if they're right there, that's going to tell a lot. And you think about the reviews you see on companies from any type of review from TripAdvisor, Google, how much is service talked about of, the the amount of effectiveness that it's done, how quick it's
Mhm.
done. And then you also look at how restaurants are rated. When you get up to a 5-star and 5 diamond restaurant, I mean, they better be on their game. And so we want to make our companies in our industry 5 diamond to give service. Because remember, if you're cleaning hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses, an insurance and underwriter taught me this. He said, "You guys are my clients, not the people that we do insurance on. You're my client because I can't affect the thousands of people that we insure." So we kind of look at it the same. Our cleaning technicians are our clients. And if we treat them well, they're going to treat the client well. And so by instantly showing a level of service, we win and we win a lot.
Love that. The ripple down effect or the trickle down effect from there. Yeah.
Right.
Let's talk about your process for filtering, candidates. Because I mean, the big thing is we want to be obviously filtering these candidates to get the most quality candidate. But a lot of times in the cleaning world, when we're hiring, we need somebody yesterday, right? So how do we do this without like slowing down the process? Once the applicants start coming in, how should people be screening efficiently with quality without wasting time?
Sure. So, um, when I first started helping, my wife, Nina, who owns Raleigh Cleaning Company, it was a need she needed because her GM had left and he was doing the hiring. And of course, we first met and we were a brand new couple. So I could be Superman, right? I could do all things. So yeah, I can help you hire. Well, it was really different from me because, it was white collar world versus blue collar world. They're a little different, right?
Yeah.
So I tried essentially how I had done it on the opposite side, and I could have piles of people sitting there, warm bodies. I mean, quick because of just the follow up. I
Yeah.
had templates that were on my computer that I would copy and paste into messaging apps. And I mean, I was on it. But then it just we had a lot of people, but the quality wasn't there and still was having that 2 to 3 call outs a day, and turnover was higher than you could imagine and things like that. And really what revolutionized our company by leaps and bounds is Culture Index. So there are a bunch of platforms out there. We've used Disc, we've looked at Predictive Index, we've looked at piles of them.
Mhm.
And Culture Index has come back and shown us to be right. w- I don't want to give you a percentage, but almost every single time. I'm a huge skeptic. And let me tell you, when Nina asked me to take this little 7-minute assessment, I was like, what is this going to do? Because you remember, I had a stockbroker's license. I had to do every
Yeah.
psychological profile. I'm like, what's this 7 minutes going to do? And I did it, and the person from Culture Index said, "Let me read this pattern to you." And he read the pattern and everything, and when I put the stuff in, he thought I was just the hiring manager for Raleigh Cleaning Company, and at the end of it, he says, "It doesn't make sense. Your pattern is more somebody in the financial world of, like, investment banking or insurance
Mm.
or such." And he said exactly who I was. Now, if it were me or you, I would know everything about Drew before I got on the phone with you from LinkedIn and Google and all that sort of stuff. But as I got to
Yep.
know this gentleman, he's not techie at all, like at all. And his wife sends his emails. Let me put it that way. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not techie. So I was like, okay, let's try this. And we started doing that. And we started having the patterns of what the cleaning technician should be. And it blew our mind. And all of a sudden, our level of individual just went way up. So then I said, "Hey, let me show you how this is working, Brian." And I showed him like all the templates and stuff I was dropping, and this is what changed everything. He said, "Hmm, man, it'd be awesome if you could automate that." Now he didn't have an idea how to do that, and then all of a sudden I thought, "Why am I not in the insurance world? That's what we do." And so then that was the quest of
Yeah.
automating, thus Ricochet. Now that's how we've been able to go from really, really large numbers to really good people quick.
Mm. I love that. I love that the non-techie guy triggered the very techie path.
He
Very
did.
cool. Yeah.
He did. But the guy can barely text. I joke around about it. I
Yeah.
said, "Man, I never would have thought this," but it really transpired. And I mean, when we have a hiring campaign where in 2 weeks we're getting anywhere from 700 to 800 applicants, it narrowing it down to, and this is a little bit about a patience because you freak out maybe at first because you see 7 or 100 applicants. And
Yeah.
that out of 700 applicants, you only have 19 pass the profile. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then 19 go through the automation, and then 9 book an interview. But here's the key. And then 8 or 9 show up for the
Yeah.
interview.
Yep.
And I've never looked at their resume. I've never looked at anything until 5 minutes before that Zoom pops on, because I don't have to. And not only just Culture Index, but our automation as far as videos. Like, we have 30-minute videos where everybody actually watches the full presentation of who we are. We pull back the curtain completely, and they know everything from training to pay to their PTO. They know everything before they ever see me. So therefore, they don't even make an appointment if they don't want to. So the
Mm.
people that are sitting in front of me on Zoom have invested a minimum of an hour and a half into this thing so far.
Yeah, that's a good investment then too. Do you have any go-to interview questions once you do get them to that Zoom call, or specific approaches that help you get to the truth quickly?
Sure. So when I start the process, I immediately say, look, uh, I know what your name is, but we're not even going to go there. Before we even get started, what questions do you have for me before, we even start? Because if they have something that in the video they've seen and it knocks them out, let's not waste 30 to 45 minutes. So in fact, I allow them to interview me first.
Mhm.
They get to get everything out. And not only that, but I'll tell you another thing that's really interesting. Because of the videos and because of they've seen me so much, they are comfortable with me. It's just like Matthew McConaughey walking in my office right now. And, he doesn't know me for Adam, but all of a sudden I'm like, all right, all right, all right. Like, I know who he is.
Yeah.
Well, for them seeing me so much in all the videos, they already feel like they know me. And I can tell you, people have said some unbelievable things because of that. But getting to those questions, number one, I let them interview me. And then number two, my very first question is, okay, who are you? And don't talk about anything on your resume. What do you like to do? Tell me about your weekend.
Yeah.
And it really quickly brings down the curtain because they're used to every interview being like, hey, what's your greatest weakness? I mean,
Sure.
it's just
Yeah,
very
just those
different,
classic questions. Yeah.
conversational.
Yeah. Okay, so we've worked on attracting candidates, attracting the right candidate. We talked about the interview process, how to take down that guard for them. Let's talk about retention. You've said that retention starts before someone's even hired.
Yeah.
What does that mean? And what have you guys learned about reducing that turnover, especially in the first 90 days, which can be a really tricky thing for the cleaning industry, those first 90 days, getting people who maybe didn't realize how, laborious working at a cleaning company can be. Uh, how do you work on that? Getting them to stick, getting to stay, and talk about more about when you say retention starts before someone's even hired.
Sure, absolutely. So when people come on and we do a 1 day hire, I know a lot of places do 1 day or 2 day hires and things like that. But once they actually are coming on to work with us, we have a full blown out training program that's built in our automation to where every single day they're getting stuff, they're getting videos, they're able to contact back with us. And and we talked about this in the other podcast, but they have their custom GPTs that they can go and ask questions. So the one thing that we find the most is when people don't know what they're doing or they don't feel comfortable, it kind of puts like a little bit of hesitation. But if from day one I'm investing in them so heavily, they understand I care. And so, like, after those couple days, I mean, that stuff's automated to where, sending a message like, hey, how was your first day? How's this going? Right. And so those things are constant communication.
Huge.
We
Yeah.
also talk a lot to them. A lot of my technicians, I mean, I'll be on the Zoom with them at 8:30 at night. Hey, you want to catch up? Yeah, sure. And they do that. And so as far as in the first 90 days, we hit it hard in that first 30 days of like community, 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 community. And then once they're out of their training, Then they actually go work with seasoned techs, but they're still in training. And those seasoned techs are kind of taking them under their wing and saying, "Hey, try this, do this." And it's not affecting their like quality scores or anything like that because, we have them as just a teammate that isn't hurting the seasoned tech. Now move forward after the 30 days, we're going to follow up less often, but we have so much different communication that they know that they can text us, Slack us, call us, send smoke signals up in the air. They can talk to us about anything at any time. And we do that. Now, here's the key thing that we really love with Culture Index. We actually send out that profile every quarter. And in that, it has a score that clearly shows if they're not happy and they're looking for another job. And it's unbelievable how well it works. When that score is really low, I will bluntly ask, "Hey, are you happy? It looks like you might be looking for another job." Oh my gosh, you should see their eyes. Now, I will tell you this, since we've been using it, that has changed tremendously. And speaking of turnover, like I said, we haven't had a call out in the last 7 weeks. That's pretty cool, for us.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Not only that, but in the last year, we've lost 4 people. And I'm so happy we lost every one of them. And you might be going, "Oh, are they bad employees?" No. One went to go finish her degree to be a physician's assistant. Another one went to school to be a nurse that she had always wanted to do. Another one, she moved with her husband, so that one we can't kind of help. But every single person that left gave me a 2 week notice, and two of them that were actually one of them was a trainer. When it got a week before she left, I asked her, I said, "Hey, look, I know you're going to PA school in Wisconsin, and it's at the end of the month, and this is like the beginning. I've got this, these new trainees, and as soon as I'm done, we're going to be a really good place. Could you do another week for me?" "Absolutely. I sure will. Do you need me a week and a half?" And so we are going back into the staff, and it comes back to this too. Like, for example, we'll have mortgage brokers come in and talk to them about like, "Hey, let's organize your finances to be able to get you bought into a home by yourself, not you have to worry about somebody else." We've had, single moms we've helped get their first house on their own. And so that's the things that keep the people because they see we really truly care. Like I said before, we rented a big lake house. Everybody come to the lake house, and it wasn't a meeting. We gave away TVs, cash, gave away all kinds of stuff. And then the next day, they were able to bring their family, their kids, everything. We took them out on our boat. I mean, it's investing into them because remember, my client is not the hundreds of people we serve. It's the people that are on our team.
So good. Love that. Let's get techie a little bit. Let's look into the future because I know that's something you like to do. So I think you'll have some good insights in this. But let's look into like just the future of recruiting in the cleaning world. Looking ahead, I don't know, 3 to 5 years. How do you see the hiring game changing for service businesses and cleaning companies?
Well, I guess it depends on who you are, uh, because you're going to have people who are, "I've done it this way for 15, 20 years. I'm going to get stuck there." And then you're going to have those that are scaling really fast that are using AI and technology and automation to hire, like we've already done. And, even as far as like we have bunches of AI videos that, I want to talk to somebody and I just pull up the website and type in what I want to say and send it to the applicant. And they continue to feel better about us because
Mm.
they're seeing us and the way that AI video is becoming. I mean, it's becoming pretty scary, And so those tools that you're going to be able to use is going to effectively really shorten the distance between those that are using it and those that are not. And in the next 5 years, if you aren't in some capacity, I think you really will be lacking behind. What that looks like, Drew, I'd love to know. because if I knew, I'd go to Vegas and play, every game, because I think you can attest to this. We used to have technology to where you could get used to it, get running it for a while, maybe a
Yeah.
year or two. Now in 2 weeks, it's completely different. So, I mean, stuff is moving so fast, and I think that's going to be continued the way of the future, even though it's already now.
So you talk a lot about just the human element.
Mhm.
Where is that line with the human element and those AI videos that you're talking about and automation text? Like, where does that what does that look like? Because that's where a big question people always have is like, how
Sure.
do we use this technology that makes us faster, better, stronger, um, more efficient, more quality, but also keep who we are as humans?
Well, it's the perception of what people expect. And what I mean by that is, if I have, as you know, we talked about this in the GPT podcast. It's all in like how you train these things, and it's
Mhm.
all in the way that they're talking to individuals. Uh, my my bots intentionally spell stuff wrong, and then come back and go, "Gosh, autocorrect is trying to kill me today." Right? So you take things like that and completely incorporate it into your automation and do it often,
Sure.
and then people just think they're talking to people anyway. So that human element is the way that you design it to begin with.
Super interesting. Yeah. Teaching your AIs to spell things incorrectly on purpose, so it comes off as more real human.
Yeah. Say the wrong name. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm telling you, the stuff that that we do intentionally would probably I'll tell you what's really interesting. Somebody was talking to me about automation the other day, and they were talking about before they automated, they wanted to get back with somebody within seconds between text.
Mm,
And I said, "That's cool. It's not very scalable, but have you actually even thought about that that looked more automated than if there was a 2-minute gap?"
sure.
You know? And I think what has happened is everybody becomes so efficient, efficient, efficient. We do that because especially in that very first few minutes and first few hours, but we start to lag behind, and some of our stuff is like, "Hey, we wanna get back to you as soon as possible, but we're just really full today. Let me get back to you in, like, a couple hours." So, it puts in the human element of,
Sure.
we have other stuff going on, and
It's you are in full control of it. Yeah.
oh, completely, completely.
Yeah. Cool.
That's work.
I love that. Hey, well, let's end on this. I like to end these episodes lately with what just a elevator question. All right, an elevator pitch of sorts. You've got 60 seconds. You're in an elevator with a cleaning business owner who is frankly stuck in hiring hell. They're not getting applicants at all. The ones they're getting are not great applicants, and the ones that they hire are not sticking around. What's your 60-second advice to help them get unstuck?
Well, we've talked about it a bunch. Become personable. Start talking to the people in the actual atmospheres that you can. Now, they're not getting anything at all. They're going to have to restructure their entire portion. So, what I would say is this: hey, look, there are many different ways of going about this. What I would do is, make sure that people understand that you are legit, that you are looking to hire immediately, and then you're putting them into a process to where you control, unlike a lot of, cleaning or not cleaning, but job ads, job things, put them in a position to where you control it all and to be able to really nurture that person, whether you're doing it or AI is doing it. Take where you are and multiply the caring heart you have into hiring, because it's nothing more than just taking who you are and inviting them into your fold.
Love that. Very cool. Hey, Derek, this has been a really great conversation. Thank you for jumping on today
Sure.
and providing the insight. Just real world in the trenches hiring insight. You guys, you've told the story of where you were and where you are and how you got there. So I really appreciate you keeping it honest and actionable. If people are interested in more about you, your work, or learning more about your hiring processes at Raleigh Cleaning Company, how do they get in contact with you?
RicochetBusinessSolutions.com. and they can book a call with me or Zoom like this, and I'll do what I can and help you out. That's the best way to get with me.
I love it. Awesome. Hey, if this help episode was helpful to you, you're the person watching or listening to this today, make sure to don't keep it to yourself. Don't be selfish. Don't be greedy with this information. Share it with a business owner you know that is struggling in that hiring hamster wheel that we've talked about today, because we do know better hiring builds better businesses. So make sure to share this with your friends, because if there's one thing I do know about the residential and commercial and just cleaning world as a whole, it is such a tight knit community that loves to communicate and build everyone together. So share this with somebody you know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.